Well, I didn't really want to make this channel the rational view about racial issues, really. Being a libertarian and stuff like that, those issues aren't really something I'm too keen on. But the entire country's talking about the whole Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman case. And last night, a very close relative of mine, I was hanging around them, and I asked if they'd heard about the case. Her comment was, "Oh, it's so horrible. Oh, we've been so upset about that." And I instantly knew that she was watching NBC and CBS and CNN, because it's all they ever watch, especially NBC. They get all the news from NBC. So I had to say to her, I said, "Are you really aware of the facts of the case? Are you really aware of who Trayvon Martin really was?" I said, "He wasn't 12 years old, right? Like the little pictures they kept showing on the news. He's actually 17. Old enough to be tried as a man in the courts, certainly. And a lot of religions, like you're a man at 13 in the Jewish faith. I guess I understand. Are you aware that he'd been caught at school with a bag full of women's jewelry and wedding rings and things, and a burglary tool? Are you aware of that?" "Oh no, I didn't know that." "Are you aware that he had been kicked out of school for attacking a bus driver, punching and beating a bus driver?" "No, I didn't know that." That's why he was down in Florida, because he'd been kicked out of school there, and he sent him down to his father. His mother sent him down to his father because he couldn't go to school where he was, I guess. "Are you aware he was a drug user? And not just marijuana, but something called lean. He was found with Skittles and some kind of a fruit drink on himself. I said, "Do you know that lean is a concoction of candy like Skittles and fruit drink and codeine or Robitussin, stuff like that? They mix it all together and they sip it and get high on that. Did you know that?" "No, I didn't know that." He had marijuana in his system. I'm not hating on marijuana. I think as a libertarian, drugs should be legalized. But pot does make people paranoid, as I understand. And the drug lean, the concoction called lean, often makes people very violent. But speaking of violence, are you aware that on his own, cell phone, in his text messages, he was talking about beating people up and how much he enjoyed doing that and fighting and texting back and forth to a girl like he was talking to. "Do you know that?" She said, "You got to stop doing that." He said, "No, I like it." And she said something. He said, "No, I'm a gangsta." He referred to himself as a gangsta. On Facebook or whatever, his handle is something nigga, Nigga. He's got pictures on there, with gold teeth, which is a gangster type rap thing. Also had pictures on there holding a gun. Are you aware that when he was on the phone with his girlfriend, the witness for the prosecution, it was very clear that he was almost out of this gated community? As I understand, he didn't live in that community. He had to actually climb over a fence to get in that community. He was almost out of the community and gone, but he doubled back and attacked George Zimmerman, popped out of some bushes. No, I didn't know that. It's been said that Zimmerman confronted Trayvon. He didn't confront Trayvon. He didn't say anything to Trayvon. He was kind of following him, and Trayvon was aware of that. Speaking of following, are you aware that he wasn't walking on the sidewalk, just walking along peacefully? That he was actually skulking around by people's houses and things? I mean, considering that I think he was a burglar, personally. He'd been a burglar and stolen things and been caught with a burglary tool and, some woman's jewelry and wedding rings. I mean, how many women lose that kind of thing? He claimed he found it, but he didn't voluntarily go and hand it in. He had it on, and they caught him with it. I think the kid was a burglar, personally, and a criminal. He'd been attacking people. He's a drug user. He's also on his cell phone. There's text there where he's dealing drugs. I think he bottled the whole thug life attitude. Personally, that's my personal opinion. He bottled that whole thug life thing. Came back, doubled back. He would have been out of that area. When he was talking to his girlfriend, he would have been out of there. He doubled back on Zimmerman, popped out of some bushes, snuck back, and then a sucker punched him and attacked him. And there are witnesses to him being on top of Zimmerman, pummeling him and beating him MMA style. The forensic, the scientists on the case testified, that he was, there's no doubt in his mind he was on top of Zimmerman when he was shot. His T-shirt was away from his body because he was vertical or horizontal on top of Zimmerman, attacking him when he got shot. When Zimmerman was originally talked by the police lied to him and said, you know, we've got this all on videotape. There are video cameras here that recorded the whole thing. Zimmerman's response wasn't quiet. Zimmerman's response was, thank God. Because he knew what had happened. He was saying what had happened. You know. I mean, those are the facts of the case. And he's also wearing the hoodie. A lot of people are saying, oh, well, you shouldn't be followed just because you're wearing a hoodie. Well, the fact of the matter is that whole neighborhood had been inundated with black guys in hoodies attacking people and robbing and burglarizing and raping. And that's why Zimmerman was out walking around. It was black guys doing it. I'm sorry, that's just the case. Another fact of the matter is, if you don't know this, a lot of black criminals and gang members wear hoodies as a disguise. They pull it down over the face and they put their head down, which also was what Trayvon Martin was doing as Zimmerman watched him. You know, he's walking, he's running around by people's houses, walking around by people's houses where he shouldn't have been, in their yards, down on the sidewalk. It's not surprising Zimmerman watched him. And as far as Zimmerman being a racist, Zimmerman took a black lady to his prom. He has a black man who's his business partner. He had mentored black children. Zimmerman was no racist. NBC was reported the case as a black child was killed by a white man, and they showed this picture of Trayvon Martin when he was like 12. Kept showing that picture. And then there's that famous photo of Martin with a little hood on. It's all white, you know, it's all photoshopped. I'm wearing a hoodie, you know, and he looks again like I think it's a 12-year-old picture of him. He was no 12-year-old, you know. And I'm sorry, but anybody who attacks someone, brutally attacks them, and is beating the crap out of them, saying they're going to kill them and trying to, you know, choke them and stuff, I'd shot him too. You would too. Don't tell me any one of you, if you were attacked by someone like that, wouldn't shot him. Now, some of you are saying, oh, it's horrible, he shouldn't have been profiling, you know, Martin. But as I've said, he's profiling because he looked at the guys who were breaking into houses. He was sneaking around, lurking around by houses where he didn't belong, in people's yards. And wearing the hoodie, you know, and he was a gangy. The gold teeth, whole 9 yards. He was a gangster. He said himself, I'm a gangster. You know, and he was enjoying the thug life. The sick thing about this case is that the president immediately goes in and talks about it on the news. I mean, the president shouldn't be doing that. Shouldn't be talking about cases before they've been adjudicated, especially. And since then, he's talked about it. You know, and it's always, you know, framing it as this poor little black boy, this little black child. You know, people still refer to him as a child on the news. Oh, he's this child. Well, he's 17 years old. He's 6'2". He's not a child. He's a gangster who likes guns. He's got pictures again on his Facebook showing money. I assume he got from selling drugs. This guy's a little gangster. But the media, the left-wing media, and the president, and all the people in the black grievance industry, Jesse Jackson, who, by the way, Jackson himself has said in the past that the black men scare him. When he sees a couple young black men, he gets nervous. So he profiles black men. You know, 50% of black men are either on parole, in prison, or awaiting trial in this country right now. 50% of the murders done in this country are done by black men. I'm sorry, but, you know, if you're a young black man and someone's kind of looking at you funny, you know, that's a cross you're just going to have to bear. Especially considering the black community in this country traditionally has not been willing to rat out or talk or testify against other black criminals. Or black, you know, I'm not talking about people who are not criminals, blacks, and most of them are not, but not been willing to testify and stand up and say, hey, that guy's a criminal, he did that. They protect those people, I guess, based on racial grounds, I'm not sure. So, I would say to the black community, you know, get your act together. Clean up your house. If I lived in a community where red-headed Irishmen were coming through and robbing and raping and stealing and murdering and burglarizing on a regular basis, I guarantee you I'd be out there watching for red-headed Irishmen. It's got nothing to do with race. It's got to do with who's actually doing this stuff. I'd be watching. I'd be keeping an eye out. That's the way it is. You know, I'm sure if men in white hoodies with white hoods on and white robes were riding through horses in black communities, shooting black people, I guarantee you, and raping black women, I guarantee you, the next time someone was walking through the black community with a hood on, I guarantee they'd be looking at that person and doing much more. I don't know. It's a sad case state of mind. What bothers me most of all is the fact we've got a president and a bunch of liberals and the senators and congressmen who know the real facts of this case, but instead keep saying it was a white man killed a small child for no reason, and that's not what it was. It was an Hispanic man who self-defended himself from an attack by a vicious thug, by his own description, by a man who had been beating people up and attacking people and admitted it on his cell phone text. That's what it is. Now, not all black people are like that. Not all black people do that. Not all black men do that. No doubt. I've had black people I've known who are good, decent people, and most of them probably are. But the statistics of crime in this country of blacks committing crimes is insane. And here we have a case where the president's talking about the need to warn black people, warn their children, for fear of white people. Well, I got news for you. You're 39 times more likely to be attacked by a black man than you are a white person. That's something to think about. It's ridiculous. Until they start telling the truth about these statistics and what's going on in this country, and in cases like this, instead of just, ramping up race hatred for white people amongst blacks. And I'll tell you what, looking at Trayvon and his father, the picture of Trayvon and his father when he was a little bit younger, his father looks like a gangster to me too. He's got the gold chains and the hat on sideways and the gangster-like beard, which is kind of common too. In Cordy, he looks like regular suit and tie to me. But that picture of him, go look these pictures up. Look up the photographs of Trayvon on the web and see what you get. That picture looks to me like a father who was into the thug life too. Maybe, I don't know. It just looks like it to me. And I kind of wonder if I'm sure Trayvon was in all the rap music and the gangster rap, the violent gangster rap and calling them hoes and all this stuff. And it looks to me like his father supported that stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if his father was, into the lifestyle too. So where's all this, and I'm sure he was taught to hate white people. I'm just guessing there, but well, the fact that he called Zimmerman a crazy ass cracker to his girlfriend on the phone tells me that Trayvon was one that's racist. Zimmerman's not a racist. Zimmerman's actually a liberal. He actually voted for Obama. He's voted for Democrats his whole life. His father was a Democrat. Zimmerman should be the ideal liberal, frankly, for the Democratic Party. Anyway, just a few thoughts on the case. It's pretty pathetic and pretty sad. The saddest to me is we've got a left-wing news media and left-wing senators and congressmen and a left-wing president who's using this to create more race hatred against white people and separate. And they do this because it gives them power. The black grievance industry, people like Jesse Jackson, make huge amounts of money on this kind of stuff. And it's what's really frightening and scary to me. We could help and solve some of these problems. It could maybe be made better, but no, it's not. Instead, it's used by black people and by people in the race hatred industry and by people on the left to gin up racial hate, which again I think plays a part in this case. I think Trayvon Martin hated white people. I think he liked beating people up and assaulting people, number one. But I also think he just hated white people, is my guess, and thought he had some right because he's a black man to assault what he thought was a white man. No one has a right to do that. Well, that's it. That's my thoughts on it. Pretty much all my thoughts on it, I guess. I may make another video about it as far as Zimmerman goes. But anyway, that's it. I'm not trying to cause any controversy or anything like that. I'm just saying those are the facts of the case, like it or not. Please like the video. Please share the video on Twitter and Twitter and Facebook and Stockerazzi Book and all those things. And please subscribe if you're here. Thank you much.